I am the president of the Overseas Press Club of America, and this building is our headquarters, the gathering place of the top foreign correspondents of our time who cover every corner of the globe in their search to bring the truth to you. From their personal files, we tell the stories behind the headlines. What you're about to see really happened, and the people portrayed really lived. Here's a story told by Bolek Wiertspiański while on an assignment in London.
The River Thames, Tower Bridge. A Polish merchant ship, the Yaroslav Dabrowski, coming up the river. A floating link between east and west. A piece of the Iron Curtain in the heart of London. For most on board, it was a routine trip. For one, an unknown man, it was a glimpse of freedom. By noon on Friday, the Yaroslav Dabrowski had discharged the bulk of her cargo in order to sail again that evening. Two British stevedores, Jimmy Walsh and Tom Paddock, were just moving the last bales.
That's it. Glory be, where did you come from?
Help. What?
He's a stowaway.
What is this? Well, who is that man?
I'm thinking he's a stowaway, Captain.
No, what? Food. 70. England.
You're there now, mate. You got nothing to worry about now, mate. No. Hey, take it easy there. Dirty skunks. I'm thinking someone should know about this.
In Piccadilly Circus, Boleslav Wiertspiański was on his way to see me in my office. He was the European editor of the American agency Foreign News Service, which serviced the Voice of America and Radio Free Europe. I was editor of the Polish Daily. An old friend and a fellow Pole, Bolek was well known to us all for his quick temper and impulsiveness, and his readiness to rush to the aid of the underdog. Yes? Yes, I see.
Hello, Tadeusz.
They're both stevedores. I see. A Polish stowaway.
Oh, a fine lad he was, but he was half-starved. And the devil a drop of water he could have tasted for days. Crying out for help he was.
I see. The name of the ship? Yaroslav Dabrowski. Pool of London. Did he give you his name? Oh, pity. Have the immigration authorities seen him, do you think?
Indeed, they have not. The captain has a knock in his cabin and won't let a soul near him.
I see. What time does the ship sail? That doesn't give us much time, but I'll try. Thank you for telephoning. This might be a story for you, Bolek.
Sounds more than a story. Sounds as if someone needs some help.
You'll have to work fast. The ship sails tonight.
Wait a minute. They can't hold anyone against their will in British waters. If this man wants asylum, then we must make sure that he can apply for it.
But how? We know nothing about him, who he is, why he wants asylum. We don't even know his name.
What does it matter what's his name? He's a fellow Pole. That's enough for me.
Maybe, but not enough for the immigration authorities. For all we know, they may already have seen him and refused him permission to land.
Then we must get the Home Office to take action.
On a Friday afternoon of a bank holiday weekend, this is England, Bolek.
You know what I'll do? I'll get hold of a member of Parliament.
Fine. The House closes this afternoon, adjourns for the summer recess.
Yeah, but not till later this afternoon. It's worth trying.
Well, good luck. Is there something else that I can do for you?
Yeah. Look, you call up your friends in Fleet Street. See if you can get the evening papers to play it up. If we can rouse British public opinion, the authorities might act.
So off he went to the Houses of Parliament, where anyone can go with a grievance to air, a favor to ask, or a cause to fight for. While I phoned all the news editors in Fleet Street. He handed in a list of all the members of Parliament he knew personally, and waited in the church-like vestibule, thinking of an unknown prisoner in a ship 2 miles down the river. Eventually, 2 MPs came out to see him and listened sympathetically to his story.
Perhaps the Home Secretary might be able to do something.
I'll see if he's in the house.
Thank you.
I would be very happy to help you, but of course the time factor makes it very difficult, if not impossible.
But don't you realize that if this boy is sent back to Poland, it means almost certain death for him?
I realize that, my dear fellow, and naturally I sympathize. But it raises a tricky legal question. According to 18th century practice, a stowaway in law belongs to the captain.
Forgive me, but this is the 20th century, and we have no time for legal quibbles.
And, of course, there are other considerations.
What do other considerations matter when a man's life is at stake?
Not even the Home Secretary can ignore the possible political repercussions. Intervention may land the government in serious trouble with Warsaw, even with Moscow.
Who cares what Warsaw or Moscow thinks? This is not a question of politics. It's a question of humanity.
The Home Secretary's not in the house. But I did manage to get a word with the Undersecretary.
Well, what is he going to do about it? Is he going to help us?
It's outside his scope. But he's promised to try and have a word with the Minister.
When?
I stressed the urgency. He will do what he can. And I'm afraid that's all I can promise.
Thank you, gentlemen. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
The British press had backed us up nobly and broke the story on their front pages. This at least was a start. I had called in Viktor Rubitsky, an Anglo-Polish lawyer friend of ours, to see if he could help us.
Hello, Bolik.
Oh, hello, Bolik. Any luck?
Not much, but I've started things moving.
There's bad news. The immigration office has just issued a statement. They can take no action until the stowaway sets foot on British soil. Until then, the question of asylum does not arise.
Regulations. With 6 hours to go, regulations can be a death warrant.
No. Regulations can also be a safeguard. That is, in a law-abiding country. Now, listen to this. Lord Palmerston, 1857. No slave can be denied asylum in British waters.
But that's our answer. He's a slave by any standards. Well, what are we waiting for? What court does it come under?
That district would be South London, Judge Stevenson.
Then ask him for a landing order for a stowaway. Stick at him until you get it and bring it to me at the docks.
I'll get his.
There is. We'll organize a demonstration down at the docks. Get onto the Federation of Free Poles and all the Polish clubs. Make every Pole in London turn out and bring their British friends. That'll keep the story on the front page. We'll make them sit up and take notice.
When Bolek reached the dockside, there was already a handful of reporters waiting. And outside the dock gates, Poles and their British friends were arriving from factories and offices to demonstrate their sympathy.
Where's Biersky? Anything new?
No, not yet, but there may be any moment.
Have you found out who the man is yet?
No, not yet.
They say he's an important member of the Polish government on the run.
I heard he was a British secret agent.
All we know about him is that he's young, he's Polish, and we believe he's in danger.
Who's that man over there?
A watchdog from the Polish embassy making notes.
Excuse me, please. Bolek! Any luck? I've got it! A landing order!
Good for you. What's the next step?
We present it to the police and ask him to enforce it.
Come on, then.
I wasn't allowed on board.
This is for you, Inspector. It's an order from Judge Stevenson authorizing the landing of the stowaway being held on board the ship against his will.
Sorry, sir, I can't do anything about that.
But it's a judicial order.
My instructions are that no action's to be taken. The case is still under consideration.
But the ship is due to sail any minute.
I'm sorry, sir. Now, if you'll just be good enough to move away.
Hello. Hello. Operators, telegrams, please. Hello, telegrams? This is Hop 20401. I want to send a telegram to Sir Winston Churchill, number 10, Downing Street. Sir, on behalf of all free Poles in the United Kingdom, I respectfully beg your intervention in the case of the stowaway forcibly held on board the Polish communist ship, the Yaroslav Dąbrowski, sailing now from the Pool of London. Name? Well, it doesn't matter about the name. All right, I'll spell it for you. W for Willie. I-E. Yeah, that's it. What can a man do, Victor? What can a man do?
When legal advice fails, pray.
Maybe you're right.
Take a last look at your friends.
I had left Bolek in my office to wait for a call from the authorities while we were still trying to contact influential people. He hadn't been to bed for 24 hours and had fallen asleep at my desk. In the meantime, we had been looking for him all over town.
Ah, there he is. Bolek, wake up, wake up.
Hello, Thaddeus. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to sleep here.
Hey, Bolek, Bolek, have you heard the news?
News? What news?
The ship's been stopped.
Stop. Who by?
By the Thames River Police. She's moored at Woolwich, 3 miles downstream.
But when? How?
They phoned me at midnight. I tried to get you at home. At last, the wheels of officialdom have started turning.
Well, come on, let's get down there. We're back again, Inspector. If you're not prepared to enforce this landing order, we're going aboard to do it ourselves.
I'm sorry, Mr. Verspiansky, but nobody's allowed near the ship. Those are my instructions.
Then why is she being held here?
That's not for me to say, sir. It's in the hands of the authorities.
Meanwhile, he's in their hands. Supposing they kill him, is that also in the hands of the authorities?
I'm afraid for the moment, sir, he's beyond our jurisdiction. But I wish you people luck.
Thank you.
Well, what did he say?
No, politely.
Where does that get us?
We'll have to think of something else quickly.
Bolek, the inspector is wrong, you know. I was reading the Merchant Shipping Act of 1894 last night.
That's going back a bit.
And it says that all foreign merchant vessels in British ports, including all persons and things aboard, are subject to the jurisdiction of British courts.
Why not go back even further? What about habeas corpus? Have we got grounds to apply for a writ?
It's arguable.
Well, then let's argue.
The Act of Habeas Corpus says that no man in Britain can be imprisoned without a court decision. But, Bolek, there's one snag. For a court decision, the man must be produced in court.
We'll get the writ first and fight that later.
Are you really going to apply for a writ?
That's quite a story.
Yes, you can print it. Who do we get the writ from?
The Lord Chief Justice of England.
Okay, let's go to the law courts and see him.
But in our excitement, we had forgotten that it was Saturday afternoon and vacation time. The law courts were deserted. The Lord Chief Justice was on holiday, and the vacation judge, Mr. Justice Davis, lived 30 miles out of London. Victor telephoned him. He agreed to sign a writ of habeas corpus, and they set out by car to collect it. But on the way out of London, they ran into trouble. The holiday traffic. The roads were as jammed as New York parkways on a Labor Day weekend. The traffic got thicker and thicker until finally it closed in on them like an ice pack. They collected the writ, but the trip back was even worse. And several miles out of London, they found themselves at a standstill.
Solid in front and solid behind. And heaven knows how long they'll be able to hold that ship at Woolwich.
When's the tide?
Oh, about 6:30, I think.
That's almost 6 now. How long will it take us to get there?
At best 40 minutes, and that with reasonably clear roads.
How long will it take for a jam like this to sort itself out?
Who knows? I've been stuck for over an hour on an ordinary weekend.
Now then, Bolek, my friend, this writ of ours is so much waste paper.
So near. And then to fail at the last minute like this. It's the final irony. Let's hear the news.
The Automobile Association reports over 10,000 cars an hour at checkpoints and traffic jams up to 2 miles long on the main roads out of London. News has just been received that the Lord Chief Justice has interrupted his holiday in order to deal personally with the case of the Polish stowaway detained in the Yaroslav Dibrovsky, now lying in Woolwich Dock. He has ordered the captain to hand over the stowaway so that he may appear in the law courts at 11 a.m. on Tuesday. The name of the man is now given as Antony Klimowicz.
But while they were marooned in the traffic, the British police were taking action at Woolwich Dock.
What is it?
I have here with me a representative of Her Majesty's government who wishes to come aboard and speak with you.
What does he want with me?
The dockside is hardly the place to discuss it, Captain.
I am sorry. No one may come aboard my ship without my permission.
He has with him a writ of habeas corpus signed by the Lord Chief Justice, requiring you to present the body of Antony Klimowicz to the Central Court of Justice before you sail.
I'm sorry. My government does not recognize the jurisdiction of your courts. I must refuse the writ, and I must ask you to leave. My ship is Polish territory.
Very good, sir, if that's your answer.
It is.
It was much later that I heard the details of that telephone call, whom it was to. The Prime Minister at number 10 Downing Street. The result was swift and impressive. When Bolek and Victor finally reached the dock that evening, a British destroyer was already heading up the Thames to block any attempt at escape by the Yaroslav Dibrovsky. In addition, we learned later that a second destroyer was steaming out of Chatham to take station at the mouth of the Thames estuary.
Who are your friends in England? I have no friends. Don't lie. You have influential friends who are plotting with you. How did you contact them? I do not understand. I have no friends. You have a family in Poland. It will be the worse for them if you don't do as I say. You will sign this paper. It says that you do not wish asylum in England and that you are returning voluntarily to Poland. I will not sign. You would kill your mother and your father? I will not sign. Your stubbornness will avail you nothing. You will not be allowed off this ship, I can promise you that. If you do not do as we say, your fellow seamen will deal with you as you deserve. You can do with me as you wish. I will not sign. Very well. We'll teach you loyalty to your country, you fascist swine.
Will you come on deck at once, please, comrade?
On the dock, the inspector led a posse of police towards the gangway, followed by a high official from the Home Office and the Commissioner of Police himself. The British Bobby has a reputation for patience and self-control, but when he has a task to carry out, nothing will stop him.
What is it you want?
I have here a writ of habeas corpus in respect of one Antony Klimowicz. I must ask you to hand him over to me forthwith.
I have received instructions from my government not to do so.
I do not understand why you make all this trouble. I've just spoken to Klimowicz. He does not seek your protection. Why do you not leave him alone?
And who are you, sir?
I represent the Polish embassy.
Then will you please instruct the master of this ship to release this man immediately, so that his case may be considered by Her Majesty's government?
I am not empowered to issue any such instructions without reference to Warsaw.
In that case, we shall take the necessary steps to ensure compliance.
as if we had won the first round. But the Polish embassy hadn't given up the fight. On Monday, we learned for the first time something about the man we had rescued. Well, temporarily at least.
He is no great spy, secret agent, or politician. He's a man of no importance, nationally or internationally. Just a simple human being, striving for freedom.
What about his background?
He's just a simple sailor. His mother died in childbirth. His father was deported to Siberia and died there, so there was no family to suffer reprisals. The secret police had tried to enlist him as an informer, but he was a religious man and had refused to join the Communist Party. When he refused, he was dismissed from the merchant service and became a marked man.
Now it's beginning to make sense. Just a good human story.
Yes, a very human story. His fate is now in the hands of British justice. But his fate, ladies and gentlemen, lies in all of us.
The next day, Klimowitz appeared before the Lord Chief Justice of England. The hearing took 2 minutes. He was allowed to remain on British soil while his application to stay permanently was considered. But he wasn't out of the woods yet. For the next 48 hours, the case of the simple sailor became a trial of strength between the two nations.
The Polish government today handed a strongly worded note to the British embassy in Warsaw demanding the immediate return of Antoni Klimowicz to Poland and compensation for damages arising from retention of the ship and the beating up and injuring of Polish seamen by the British police. The British government tonight rejected the Polish note, saying that the intervention was due to the captain's refusal to cooperate and that the Polish crew attacked the British police, who were carrying out their lawful duties.
Then the Polish embassy tried to influence public opinion with a smear campaign.
Issue this to the British press. The man Klimowicz is a common criminal fleeing from his country's justice.
If they could make their charges stick, all our efforts would be in vain.
Ready, Bonnet?
Yeah. It is the routine practice of Iron Curtain governments to accuse escapees of criminal offenses. According to present Polish law, any opponent of the communist regime is a criminal. Polish merchant seamen are the worst paid in the world. A month's pay will buy 1 pair of medium quality shoes.
In the light of all the circumstances, the Home Secretary has decided to cancel the condition limiting the period of Antoni Klimowicz's stay in this country. Klimowicz is therefore at liberty to remain here in the same way as any other alien upon whose stay no time limit has been imposed.
We've done it,
Yes, we've done it! Hooray!
Hello? Yes, this is Wyspiański. Yeah. We'll be down there right away. He's waiting for us.
Where?
Victoria Station, on the Brighton platform.
As a precaution against any attempt at kidnapping, the British Secret Service had chosen London's busiest railway station to arrange our first meeting with him. And there, for the first time, Antoni Klimowicz met Boleslav Wyspiański, the man who, by his tenacity and perseverance, had brought in 1 weekend a Lord Chief Justice, a Prime Minister, a government, 2 destroyers, and the people of England to the rescue of a single unknown seaman. As a result, at the present time, Antoni Klimowicz is back at sea again in the merchant service. The name of his ship is the Free Poland.